has been around for, honestly, feels like an absolute age. He's just been around forever. He was with Kaboom that played in 2018 MSI and, of course, in Worlds. But straight away, Infinity Esports laying down the gauntlet saying, we want the Lucian.
Yeah, Lucian's been doing some yoga in the little few weeks that we had off because he's the most flexible champion we have right now. Top, mid, AD carry, totally fine. You can pair him with engaged supports if you want to, like Leona, because he's just obnoxious in how strong he is in the lane. And as well, then you can pair him with things like the Electrocute Nami that we might get to see here from Infinity Esports. It's been kind of a little bit of a fun time for me when I've been playing it in the bot lane, so we'll have to see how we go. But Red Cannon's going to respond with the Misfortune the upside, another lane bully, and Aegis potentially looking towards an AP jungler here to open up things like the Tryndamere mid, the Yone mid, and it will still be the AP jungler. It's just going to be that Lillia.
Yeah, big AoE sleep available to you there with the Lilting Lullaby, and of course, if you can get ahead, just getting those camps off of spawn is so quick. You can counter jungle so effectively.
Yeah, also got changed a little bit as well, where she gets a lot of healing and not going to be moving around as fast, so a little bit easier to lock down, especially as we get SolidSnake going back towards the Jarvan. I love SolidSnake on these early game picks. He's so good with that. And there is the Nami to go with this. Lucian, you have a crazy strong bot lane now that you will have to deal with as Red Canids.
Yeah, not only is he very flexible, but also he got some little bit of buffs there as well. He's able to get, when he's buffed up by a champion, he gets empowered auto attacks. He's able to just trade so much more effectively. Someone like Nami, who's all about the healings and the buffs, she's going to be perfect in that bot side.
Yeah, we'll go into that a little bit more because there's even more stupid stuff with this pick. But on the upside, we want to see a bit of engage locked in alongside this Misfortune. There is the Leona. So still a lot to be kind of up in the air for, especially mid lane for me. But also we're talking about GUIGO, big carry picks like this Gwen that he's been enjoying, the Camille. So it's a curious question here from Infinity Esports. Do you look to ban topside, or are you going to try and put a nail in Grevthar, make sure he's stuck in that mid lane?
I have a dark theory, a dark technology. I think that could be a Lillia top. It could be a Lillia top. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying it could be. It has been making the rounds right now, and so we'll see exactly where that wants to go. Another very flexible champion that can go between a couple of different lanes there for the side of Red Canids, and like you said, we're seeing some of those big kind of skirmishing champions getting taken away now by both sides. The Aurelia banned away, the Gnar, and the Gangplank.
Yeah, I do like that you're kind of like putting a lot of attention towards GUIGO though for Infinity Esports. He has been a massive carry for Red Canids. His damage percent is sky high. He's basically sharing the top spots with the rest of the team, and I think when you're looking towards him, getting him off picks that can do well is going to be good, but the Camille going to be locked in here for GUIGO, and honestly, with the Aurelia taken off the board, there's not too much that can really go toe-to-toe with it in these early stages and stop this Camille from scaling and working so well in team fights with things like the Misfortune, even the Lillia as well.
Another big team fight ultimate, you can find someone, isolate them away, and just try and just all in with that Leona if you are given it now. So Infinity Esports got a couple of seconds left to see what they want to lock in. They are going to go with the Kennen this time around, so again, looking to try and just trade team fight power for team fight power.
Yeah, and I like this idea, right? Like the whole idea here for Red Canids is let's lock people down with Leona, with Camille, big AoE, big team fight. Right, Kennen can try and look to disrupt that. I'm curious to see what they lock in here for Cody though, because that's the big question mark for me coming in here is like how much do you want to, or how aggressive do you want to go? LeBlanc taken off the board from, has gone towards picks like the Zoes, a lot in towards maybe like the Rise, but the Sylas has been left open, and that's going to be the first pick here for Cody.
Plenty of options to take away. Bullet Time, Lilting Lullaby, the Solar Flare. You got a lot of good options here for the side of Infinity to be able to steal those ultimates.
Yeah, it also denies things that we're talking about like the TF, right? You don't want to pick the Twisted Fate now in towards the Sylas. Things like the Rise though could go well for Grevthar. He's only played it once this split, but certainly can work pretty well, but he has played the Sylas, the Kled twice into the Sylas. We'll run this TP Ignite, and it looks like we might be getting it one more time with the Lillia locked in, but no, last second change in towards the Sett.
We're going to get the Sett in again. Does give a very similar feel to the Kled. You're going in, you're trying to be disruptive, you're going with your ultimate to try and just get on top of people and cause havoc.
But it's again these low economy champions for Grevthar. He wants to try and roam, wants to try and make impacts on side lanes, and will happily just fall behind. So this fits into his wheelhouse so incredibly well, playing towards GUIGO, setting himself up for success, and I think that's where Red Canids will be putting a lot of their attention in these early stages.
Well, compositions are locked and loaded, and looking at these two teams, Infinity, they got themselves a wombo combo. They got the little, Pikachu on the top side with that Cataclysm. They're going to be able to lock people up if summoners are down, but for Red Canids, if they can get ahead, if they get on top of those key carries, they're just going to be blowing them up.
Yeah, there's going to be a huge amount of back and forth here in the team fights. Like, as you said, you've got kind of the big wombo that I see is more so coming through on the CB LoL side of things, where they want to jump in with the Misfortune, rock you down, get all that working for you. But when you do look at Infinity Infinity Esports, I think it's going to be more kind of trying to contain a lot of what you're going to be seeing coming through for Red Canids, right? You've got the Jarvan to try and lock down Sett, stop him from getting access to the fight. Same when you look towards the Lillia. You've got the electric mouse, the danger mouse to make sure you can keep everyone else at bay. Buy space for this Lucian, because Lucian, a very short range carry that is prone to a lot of the CC setup that you're seeing coming through from Red Canids side.
And that's the big thing as well with the Lucian. He is short range. If he gets jumped upon, he will find himself in a very, very difficult position. But I've seen a lot of Lucians in my time, and we know how well they can position. You, of course, can go towards that Gale Force if you are fearing for your life that much. So we'll wait and see how this one all fans out. And we're getting everything across the pick spectrum that we expected in these first two games, because they are different at the same time, just so expected.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice to see that we're getting kind of the taste for both these teams, right? We're seeing Red Canids kind of play towards, hey, you know, Teton trying to be more of a team fight oriented carry, GUIGO on something that can provide pressure in a split push, but also having massive pressure in these team fights. And then you look across at Buggax, like he's worked wonders on picks like the Kennen before. SolidSnake on this early aggressive jungle. I like what we're seeing on both sides here. It feels very kind of at home for both these teams.
We are here into game two, and now we see a little bit of a late invade coming in here from the Canids as they try and just get a little bit of early vision.
So I wanted to go into this a little bit more on the bot side of the map when I saw what the rune choice was going to be, because the reason that Whitelotus and Ackerman have gone for the Lucian Nami is because, as you said, you get the vigilance stacks, which is the passive off of Lucian, which has been added, where you can play very aggressive when you've been healed or where you've been set up with any sort of buff. Lucian then can play this lane incredibly aggressive, having the Nami E, her W, and get a ton of early magic damage off from his passive. What we've seen traditionally, though, in at least solo queue more so for the Nami, is taking electrocutes. We're not going to get that here, which just kind of adds into the lane bully pressure, but having that Guardian, at least when you're against a pretty aggressive lane in Teton and Jojo with the Misfortune Leona, does make sense, and just trying to keep yourself at arm's length and make sure you can bully your way through with the press the attack and all the extra magic damage you receive from the Nami in your passive.
Yeah, and for Teton going with that exhaust alongside the Ignite, two very aggressive summoner spell choices going into it. Whereas I look at Whitelotus and Ackerman, they've gone with the heal and the cleanse. They know they just have to survive, get to those skirmishes. We see now in the mid lane, Cody hitting the level 2 for Grevthar, and he's going to be able to get the push in nice and early.
And this is kind of surprising. Like, Cody's actually been doing pretty good for himself when we look towards his general laning phase, right? He doesn't tend to get a huge amount of pressure, like one of the lowest jungle proximities coming through from the Latin American League, but he still comes out with about 300 gold lead for himself. So the fact he's being set behind early by Grevthar, who is the one that sometimes fall behind, is a good shout.
And Grevthar going to get the early vision down. We're going to see now move on to this top side. GUIGO going to try and get the trade back, but Sweeping Leg will get himself healed up just a little bit, and Buggax going to have to play a little bit more defensively in case there's a jungler just hovering off.
Yeah, it does mean that Buggax won't really be able to shove in this wave. Now, with the fourth wave arriving, maybe he can look to actually collapse this and kind of get a nice cheater recall for himself, but certainly needs to play it safe for the moment as Cody gets a nice trade back. But you can see Aegis on this top side can look to disrupt that top lane.
Oh, Grevthar has to flash away. Knew if he had gotten hit by those extra empowered auto attacks, he was almost certainly dead. And Buggax, he's not having a good time right now. GUIGO is really putting in the plate, and the wave's in a terrible spot.
Yeah, and when you're that low, you've still got the E for GUIGO to try and close the gap. You've got to back off. So Buggax never should be really in range for the engage coming through from GUIGO, but keeps getting caught out by it.
Definitely not looking great for the top side for Buggax, but it is, of course, moved around all of the lanes. You can see pressure in the mid lane, pressure in the bots, so Red Cannon's looking like they're going to maybe use this priority they've just garnered themselves and recognize that all of top side has been taken away, so they know there is no Jarvan, but he may be there in the future.
I was surprised that GUIGO didn't let the wave continue to push into him, though, and try and look for a play as... Yeah, oh, nice.
Nicely done, Cody.
That's unfortunate now for Aegis. Got to see if he could... Well, it's already gone bot side as well, yeah. So, I mean, that should have been a big win for Aegis, and not able to find anything, especially as we said, like GUIGO not letting that wave shove in. Aegis can't try and make a play on top, deny Buggax more farm, so it means Buggax kind of gets away with the mistakes that he made in this early stage.
A little bit of a respite, shall we say, a reprieve coming into this top side, as the Camille will be able to keep putting on the damage. And of course, Buggax's job is not to win this lane. Buggax's job is to be that flanking cannon, is to go in with that danger mouse slicing Maelstrom and try and just get in on top of those carries. But it is feel pretty good if you can keep even.
You really need to kind of punish this Camille level 1 to 5, because if you end up falling behind, right? Camille gets level 6, you end up with the jungler up there, you kill the mouse very, very quickly. It's not a fun time as SolidSnake going to see if he can get that early pressure on towards the map. Grevthar's wave not in the best of spots as it's pushing in against Cody.
It will crash into the wave though, so SolidSnake not realizing he was in fact SolidSnake and didn't get spotted, so he was there keeping himself alive and keeping himself in the vicinity in case something went down.
Yeah, but you can see if you look at your mini-map there, you've actually got the roam already coming up from the Leona. This is something that we see fairly often coming through from Jojo, just trying to play towards mid lane, make sure Grevthar can make these early aggressive plays so we can shove in and get those opportunities to roams. This is how we actually see not very much jungle proximity mid, but a lot of support proximity mid.
Whitelotus taking an unfavorable trade with the make it rain and the double up, cracking him right across the face. So going to take another one to the back as the Guardian coming in clutch here to keep him nice and healthy. But again, we knew this was going to happen. They're going to be able to push in. Jojo and Titan just have a stronger, 1 to 5.
Yeah, it's the make it rain that makes it a little bit more difficult, but I'd love to see some pressure coming down here from SolidSnake. I think especially as you start to look towards the damage that can come out from Whitelotus, you burn some flashes on towards Titan, you can very quickly start to make these plays bot side, like burn a flash, come back 2 minutes later, look towards another play, especially as you start to hit 6 on things like SolidSnake.
And again, we're seeing a lot of time being given over by SolidSnake to this mid lane, and it kind of lends itself to how we talked about this. As I might have to stop myself as Buggax. I should be fine. There will be a Hextech Ultimatum available, but we're looking at Cody and Grevthar. They are 2 very different tools for their team.
Yeah, and you can see it there, right? You're not going to have Grevthar come out massively far ahead, but when he's in lane, but he wants to try and look for these roams, link up with Aegis, and make plays towards the top side. And whereas we look at Cody, though, he's been very much a case of I will get my own lead, lads. You go deal with elsewhere in the map, and I'll come and join you after. But you can see he managed to get that decent goal difference, but not as high of that jungle proximity.
GUIGO is going to be spotting SolidSnake and realizes he's about half HP, so doesn't really want to fight that one right now. He doesn't know exactly where the mid laner of Cody is, so just backing himself up. Aegis will pick up the scuttle and will roam down. There's a little bit of overextension. TP is available for GUIGO as they're going to try and go into this. There is no ult for Aegis, so no great CC if Jojo doesn't land that Zenith Blade.
Yeah, unfortunately not quite able to, even if you get on towards Whitelotus, right? Still has that cleanse. It was wishful thinking, but definitely gives a little bit of control towards Titan and Jojo to stop this inevitable crash, keeping Whitelotus and Ackerman in lane. So it looks like SolidSnake will use that time to start up Dragon instead.
Yeah, really trying to sneak this one away. There is Scuttle Vision here for Aegis, and should be hitting level 6 as soon as he kills off this blue buff, but it might be a little bit too little too late unless he roams down. Doesn't look like he's going to be. So yeah, free Dragon going over to Infinity. And look, Dagda, you told me this was going to be more.
I tried, all right, I tried.
That this was going to have fighting, there was going to be skirmishes, but no, as I say that, I'm going to have a catch myself. I knew I could cast or curse it. We do see Summoner burned in the bot side. No real health bars for the red Canids bot side, but here comes Aegis with that lilting lullaby. They don't have a cleanse anymore, so if they land one ability, they should be able to get him, but not quite able to land the seed, and they're going to have to back themselves up.
Nice sidestep coming through from Whitelotus on the rolling seed, so unfortunately not quite able to connect, which means they will back away. But again, like as you were saying, right, you've got a Jarvan here for Infinity. You want to try and make these early plays with them, because eventually you'll just kind of get outscaled. Now with the level 6 hit, I know he's going to be able to make more plays, but I wanted to see some of their spells burned before this stage, so that then you can try and follow up with the Cataclysm, make sure that they're not able to escape away from that ultimate, but we're just not quite getting it.
Oh, could have fit a bust through it as he gets himself the abscond abduct and gets himself out. A little bit of a trade damage, but honestly, I agree what you're saying, but this is kind of akin to what we've recognized in Infinity. This is how they've been pushing forward with their new game plan and pushing towards those dragon controls.
Well, it's actually been the Rift Tower control. They've been looking for those early skirmishes, trying to see if they could set it up, and this is where I'm kind of looking now to see if we can have, like, okay, now Rift Herald's up, 8.5 minutes. Infinity, this is where you look for skirmishes, and we can already see the map plays in play, right? You're starting to move up your bot lane towards that. You've got the push in for GUIGO on top side, though, which means red Canids have full control over River.
Oh, we are going to see a hell of a lot of people here, as we can see now Flash back, trying to get the showstopper to start it all, but it's all about the movement. As he gets in, gets the haymaker, Grevthar will fall down. There's Fuzz Blood, and we get a tidal wave right across Jojo and Aegis. Cataclysm down, 3 more kills going on. That's a fantastic sleep, but you have no extra damage now with the TP coming in. This fight can really begin. There's the tactical sweep. You don't get a lot, but you get one back, but it's still Infinity with the advantage.
Yeah, it's kind of the participation medal there for GUIGO. Infinity Esports get that great skirmish that we were talking about, right? Cody setting that up beautifully, the flash behind, and now Infinity Esports have control on the map. They reset with all that extra gold they picked up and can now look to move towards that Rift Herald again. We'll get it here, right? Cody steals away the Sett ult, flash behind, and then it gets a little bit funky with the stun on stun.
It's like, you then me.
Yeah, but it still means Grevthar falls. You've got the overcommit here from Red Canids as well, because look at where Misfortune is. Teton hasn't made his way towards mid. Late play coming through from GUIGO on the ultimate as well, and it's all said and done.
That felt bad. Teton not quite cancelling his own ultimate there for a second, so not quite happening for him.
I think he was going, okay, if as long as I can try and keep these here still stunned up with the sleep, maybe I buy enough time for GUIGO to get in, but then he tossed down the make it rain straight after, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt there, but
they gave us a fight, and that's all I wanted.
Exactly.
I knew I could jinx it as soon as I started talking about how there was no fighting, but with 3 kills now going over, you're looking at about a 1,500 gold lead, and that means the Rift Heralds, which you were just talking about, are going to be in play now for the side of Infinity.
And look at all those juicy flashes that have been burned, Penguin. You're looking at a Jarvan who's got Cataclysm up soon. I'm like, all right, I can go bot lane, I'll take a little bit of that, maybe a little bit of mid, maybe a little bit of top. He's got so much to work with, and this is where I want to see SolidSnake now making those plays happen. We'll just finish off the Rift Herald. I can see already if he wants to try and put this in towards Lucian the bot lane, because although you get Kennen, who's in a relatively good spot when you come towards team fights, a lot of your damage is going to be coming from Whitelotus on this Lucian.
And 2 kills onto him right now. He's going to be very far accelerated, going to be able to pick up his first item, going to be able to get towards that mythic and just again become a monster in this backside. But we'll have a look at the Hex Flash here. Jojo not quite going to go for it, but
also we will see a different build coming through from your Lucian traditionally, much more on towards the crit damage, where you're looking at the Gale Force or Kraken Slayer, Infinity Edge.
Oh, Showstopper goes in as Cody gonna find himself with the Stolen Lillia ultimate. He's got the Lilting Lullaby down, but Grevthar, SolidSnake not going to be quite able to land that one there for him, and he's got to be careful. There is still another Lilting Lullaby from the original owner, as we now see the culling coming out just to try and get these health bars nice and low, but there is going to be the ultimate, but they trade it all back. It's fights on every side, and the TP coming in. That's going to be SolidSnake falling down, but we go back down to bot side, and Whitelotus has picked up a kill. It's action all the time, and back into the mid lane, and Buggax has found one.
We're all over the map right now. You wanted a bit of action. This is where we're getting it. Infinity Esports managing to fight back against what could have been a miserable play coming through for them in the mid lane, but at least Whitelotus and Ackerman abusing the early lead that they picked up in this bottom lane. 3 kills now for the Lucian. He'll finish off his mythic. There's the Gale Force and be right on his way towards that Infinity.
And again, you're just trading the sides of the map. You get pushing bot, but because you TP down, Buggax had the TP advantage. Now you're going to give up a bit of wave top side, so you are just trying to see what advantages you can get. I like this from the side of Infinity Esports. They're going to try and delay the backs. Yes, he will be able to get it. Now it's a little bit of a full-on skirmish. GUIGO does not quite have himself the mana to go for this one, and Cody felt a little bit brave.
Yeah, I mean, he's already got that quick reset. You're still waiting on it to come through from GUIGO. Little mana. You're going to be fine to try and make that, and delaying that back means he can push out this wave. Maybe even get a little bit of a turret plate damage for himself. Whereas when we're looking across at SolidSnake, we need to keep his eyes on this jungler. Has that Rift Herald opportunity again to just add more gold into the Lucian on the bot side, if that's what Infinity Esports want to do.
We are seeing first items being picked up now. You've got the Hextech Proto Belt, or the Rocket Belt, excuse me, going on for the Canids, who are able to push that distance in. Gore Drinker, Gale Force, which you obviously mentioned about the Lucian, but also on the other side of that, you've got the Yomu's Ghostblade right now for the Titan, so he's going to just try and burn these health bars as quick as he can.
And that's an item that we're going to get used to seeing a lot, really strong at the moment, but Infinity Esports going to pop down this Rift Herald in the mid lane as well, and we're looking at Red trying to see if they can make a play on towards Buggax in the bottom lane to try and respond.
Yeah, they're going to look for it there. He's not going to be caught out, those Jojo and Titan just get a little bit of themselves, show themselves on the bot side, as we do have ourselves a pause, the first pause of the World Championship. Sorry, everything's really hype for me, I guess.
Just first everything, yeah.
I'm glad that
first
I'm
paper
here.
cuss of the World Championship. First time I stubbed my toe in the dressing room.
First time I smudged my glasses. We did it. But now, like, you know, we're obviously coming into a very important time in this particular game. It is the second Dragon. We are seeing both teams looking like they want to fight it, but important to know, there's still about 30 seconds or so on things like the Cataclysm, the Lilting Lullaby, the Slicey Maelstrom, I believe, just came off of cooldown, so you are waiting a little bit longer before you feel fully confident going for a 5v5.
Yeah, and again, I think the game plan for Infinity Esports is definitely underway, right? We talk about the ability for them to try and contain a lot of what Red Canada are trying to do. Well, when you've got the opportunity for this Lucian to be 3 kills up, Gale Force already completed, you want those ultimates just like, right, we buy time, and now we've got this powerhouse Lucian enabled by the Nami, and we can set up a lot of these plays at these these early fights snowball through this AD carry. Whereas on the opposite side, you're looking at Red Canids and kind of going, well, I mean, yeah, we can try and get Lillia into the mix, but it's really difficult against what's available. Misfortune has the almost Ghost Blade, but hasn't really gotten up and rolling yet. So you're still kind of a step behind here as Red Canids.
And I think the big thing when we look at these two compositions as well is also ease of execution. You know, it's a lot easier to land your Cataclysm, which is point and click, than it is to land, say, a Zenith Blade or even go in with a hook shot. Just in general, that's just the execution is. So you are going to find yourself with Infinity are going to be able to get onto the carries a little bit easier. It's going to be how Red Canids respond to that.
Yeah, I think it's all about the other point and click for GUIGO on the Camille. If he can lock down that Lucian, you get the Bulletstorm, yeah, whatever, coming across the top, you end up in a situation where you're going to be locked down. Yeah, that's where I got, a little bit messed up. But I think then you'll be a lot easier then for Red Canids to find these team fights. And sure, then again, as we said, like one of the big carries here. Now, you still have to be careful because you have a lot of follow-up that can come through from the Kennen. We've already kind of hinted at that. Cody, pretty massive as well, coming through onto the Sylas. We already see him trading pretty well against GUIGO in that top lane. So you still need to kind of play it safe here as Infinity Esports and make sure you're not getting these core carries picked off as these fights open up. Yeah, also, sorry, by the way, if you ever have a bit of a downtime, just keep your eyes on Teton. I love this guy coming in on face cameras. He's the most like animated person I think I've ever seen on any of these cameras.
Honestly, I think all of them are. I think you see that a lot with the Brazilian and Latin American players as well. They're just very emotionally charged with everything they do, and it's honestly fantastic to see. You can see the passion in them, and the fans reciprocate that as well. Yeah,
well, I mean, especially when you look at like GUIGO, right? Aegis, even the sub-mid laner Avenger. They have spent their entire professional careers on Red Canids. Like, these are guys that are committed to this team. They are committed to making sure that they succeed. Even when they like dropped out of CB LoL, then they come back in at the end of 2020. Like, this was a team that had its ups and downs. So I think when you even look at like Twitter, there's like #RedWin plastered all over my Twitter right now. So definitely a passionate fan base, but also like fans being rewarded for believing in this team for so long, where they had to go through the trenches to get to where they are.
Yeah, well, we have been given an update. Tournament officials are investing in a potential bug reported by Red Jojo. So we have got a bug potentially in the game. We will obviously keep you guys updated as long as we have any information. So hopefully it's not too serious. Hopefully we can just, maybe, keep it going for that. But obviously we have a lot of time on our hands. And we talked about the Red Canids. And like we said, there's a lot of hype and definitely fan support for them. But again, Infinity Esports, these guys and these, this particular organization has been around an awful long time.
Yeah, I mean, do you look towards like you've got so much time here for both these rosters to try and like get into them, the regions that they want to, trying to perform. At least for Infinity Esports, they've kind of become the staple team when you look towards LLA, where they've had the success they had back in MSI. Now they're coming up again. The difference is obviously R7 was the LLA representative back in 2020, but this is their third international appearance after the 2018 Worlds.
Yeah, and we are back into game. Obviously the bug was not leading to anything game-breaking. Tournament officials have deemed it to be good enough to keep going. We'll see now if anything does pop up again. But 2 Dragons now in the back pocket for Infinity Esports. Now we're seeing that Wood is being traded, though, for the pressure in the bot for pressure in the top.
Yeah, and again, like, this is kind of the game plan here coming through for Red Canids. They've been relying pretty heavily on GUIGO to be one of their big carries, and we're kind of seeing it once again here that he's getting a ton of resources just dedicated to himself as Cody looks for a decent trade, but not winning this one.
I was going to say, I don't think he wins this one, but the sustain is crazy from Cody. He just gains 400 health out of nowhere. But this is now a 2v1. This is no longer a fair fight, but the thought of a Hex deck ultimating and landing them underneath the tower is enough to dissuade the dive.
Yeah, I mean, but with Jojo coming up, you still got to back away here as Cody, so you will get this top lane turret now coming through, and especially when Grevthar went to Infinity Esports, the fact that Red Canids could be the ones to crack open the first turret, get control of the map, is going to be a big win for this team. And remember, what we talked about with Red Canids, early game team love to win out through their lanes, and it's GUIGO that's managed to come out on top.
And they will lose out on top side for Infinity. They will gain a little bit of pressure now into the bot and mid, so they're just kind of trading those sides of the map again. But again, we're starting to see Infinity. They're still the ones. They are the ones with the extra kills. They are the ones with the dragons, but it's still an incredibly even gold state right now. It's only about 400 or 500 in favor of Infinity.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of that is going to be on the bottom side of the map, right? Whitelotus needs to be the one to step up. 3 kills on this Lucian. We've been talking about him, and at least when you look towards like the damage percent that Whitelotus has done, he has the lowest damage per minute among any of the LLA bot laners. He tends to get very little attention, so the fact now he's in the carry seat kind of makes me feel like we're going back towards spring, right? Where we saw Infinity Esports playing down towards Whitelotus. This is more like what we saw back at MSI, rather than what I was expecting to see at Worlds 2021.
Again, there's no real reason for Infinity to fight right now. They're happy to pick up these items. They're happy to get themselves into a state where they know if they can get the right ultimates, they will have a fantastic 5v5. And for Red Canids, they feel like they're just building up right now, getting those first, key ultimates available so they can go for that big 5v5 skirmish. Yeah,
I mean, the skirmish is going to be great. You can look to try to play through side lanes a little bit with GUIGO, but my biggest problem for them here is just going to be the early dragons. And the fact that you've already got 2 as Infinity, they're starting to work towards a 3rd now. They have map control thanks to Lucian having push in mid. Makes it very easy for them to just dip their toes into river and get control like we're seeing right now. And when you feel the need as Red Canids to try and fight some of these objectives, that's where you can start to see Whitelotus pop off.
Yeah, we're seeing GUIGO again, just like you said earlier, this Camille starting to get a little bit scary, trying to outscale this Kennen, and you have to have Whitelotus or even SolidSnake, excuse me, hovering down towards this bot, so you have to cover for your top laner, because if Buggax just gets killed over and over and over again, you just don't really have a top laner.
Yeah, I think he's feeling the hurt coming from GUIGO. GUIGO's been an insanely strong top laner in the CB LoL. Like, when you look at his stats, 3rd in CSD at 15, 3rd in gold difference at 15.
No! I thought it wasn't going to be enough, but there's the Gale Force. They even have the cleanse just for good measure, and that's going to be a nice little kill into the mid lane, into the back pocket of Whitelotus.
Yeah, so I think we're going to see a little bit more Lucian Nami. Seems like it's pretty alright, pretty okay.
Looks cool.
And I think as well, but to be fair, Red Canids haven't really been given it a huge amount of respect, right? You see Titan trying to walk up there, trying to play off of having teammates there, but Whitelotus more than happy to just take that quick trade. It will be answered by Red Canids on the bottom side as they look to get control, but certainly nice job from Infinity.
Yeah, very, very nice job here, as we can see Ackerman just taking away that little bit of vision in the river. So again, it just kind of delays Red Canids a little bit. It means that GUIGO can't take that full tower. It means he has to back away because they just don't have the numbers on the map.
Yeah, the issue though is having lost that mid lane turret now for Red Canids, you can start to look for more aggressive plays, right? Push in mid with like Whitelotus, look to get control over these side lanes and in the jungles, and then start to dip into Fog of War, look to play off of those side towers. It becomes really difficult for Red Canids to try and protect themselves on side lanes when SolidSnake can show up at any point in time.
Well, Dragon spawning in 45 seconds. It is a Cloud Soul coming onto the Rifts, as Infinity would like. Don't think they have any real reason to kind of, push themselves in a bad position for it, but they would definitely like to get themselves onto Soul Point, especially this early on. As we have a quick look at the gold, and they are looking at a couple of resets they would like to get in, specifically in that top half of the map. Buggax and SolidSnake sticking on about 1,000 gold each.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem here, is that you've got 30 seconds left. At least you got the TP on Buggax to try and get back, but you had GUIGO go for that faster reset. He's happy to stay out on the map for the moment, and now they can start to move in towards river for Red Canids. The question, though, is if Infinity Esports are willing to give this, it is just a first Cloud Dragon for Red Canids, and look to make a play elsewhere.
It looks like Red Canids don't want nothing to do with it right now. They have committed 3 members of their team up towards that top side to just try and maybe catch someone out on a poor rotation. Now they're looking for a reset. There is a TP there for Grevthar, so him and GUIGO can join the fight at a moment's notice, but they get vision in the bot side, but I feel like it's still going to be Infinity with the advantage.
Yeah, I mean, Red at least have control of river. You're getting the Grevthar having just picked up his Gore Drinker, which is going to be pretty crucial for him when he gets towards these team fights. So at least Red have managed to delay it enough before they start this up in case a fight does kick off. Because as we said, Infinity Esports, they're ahead. They have this massive Lucian. Why not try and use him?
Yeah, absolutely. He's still waiting to finish off his Essence Reaver, but right now, Whitelotus is definitely feeling pretty strong. They are looking to maybe just trade this one, saying, look, we don't care about the dragon. Or maybe we do. They're not sure, Dagda. They're not quite sure. We're in, we're out.
Yes, no, maybe so.
Yeah, it's just they're not quite sure, but I think they know that this will be a free objective. They can go for it, and they can get the push in bot side as well.
Yeah, that was the big thing, was like, hey, now we've got shove in mid with Whitelotus, like we talked about. Now we can start to rotate bot. We've got push for Buggax in the bottom lane, so they can get dragon. They can got bot lane turret at the same time. And look at where Cody is, right? He's just rotated up to top to collect that big wave, so you're not actually losing too much on the map. For going for this is Whitelotus, though, might lose his life.
They're going to go for it, but a nice little tidal wave, but a great solar flare catches out Ackerman. And that was a two-man commitment, but we even got the TPs coming in. They're going to put down the Hextech ultimatum, and Cody is dead. And the blink of an eye, 2 quick kills, and Red Canids have themselves everything.
And in Infinity Esports, they just commit too much. This is something that we saw a lot from them in the regular season, was they just get dangled a fight in front of them. They'd overcommit to it and end up losing it. Now, it pays off sometimes, but this time it comes back to bite them, and Red Canids now have control of the map.
Have control of the map. They got control of this top side as well. They're going to be able to take down this turret, with Shelly getting herself a bop on the head to that one there. Not much Buggax can really do about it. As I say that, though, everyone from the side of Infinity Esports is coming out, so we're not going to overcommit. They're not going to do the same mistake that Infinity just did.
Yeah, they really just want to try and get back onto the map as fast as possible, right? You're going to want to try and get GUIGO down into this bottom lane, keep him as your split pusher, make sure that you can get control of mid lane, especially with the mid lane turret down. But this was just a really good engage coming through from Aegis, and instant follow-up from the support. Brilliant engage coming through from Jojo that sets up Teton for success, and then just the overcommits completely from Infinity.
Oh, we got to go back into this one here as Ackerman gets caught out, brought into the showstopper, and that happened on the other side of the map. Misfortune picked up a kill onto the Lucian. They're just falling like flies. What happened to this great early game, Dagda? What's going on?
Red Canids happen, and they're just eating up Infinity everywhere they go, and now it's Red Canids who are moving over towards the Baron. Infinity maybe trying to see if they can contest, but SolidSnake spot on the wall.
They're going to go straight back into it. The solar flare will not land. Cody did steal away the showstopper, so this is going to be a little bit difficult now for the side of Red Canids. They've already used a lot of ultimates and a lot of summoners. They're trying to keep this Baron procced, but it's a bit dangerous. SolidSnake is off to the back of the pits. They know where roughly he is, but not exactly. They don't have great vision. Baron down to 7,000 HP. Buggax still flash, still got Proto Belt, and still got the ultimate. He's going to have to slice himself out and get himself back to safety. Red Canids not willing to burger flip it.
Yeah, Infinity, they had the respawns. Whitelotus and Ackerman coming out from base, and unfortunately, Red, they just don't commit hard enough. They're not sure where Infinity is. Buggax thought about it for a second there into Grevthar, but now you have to reset as Red, and you're giving up all this beautiful control you just got in this Baron area.
Yeah, really was. We have a look now at the replay, and it's just kind of Ackerman just going, where's your buddy? You need a buddy system.
Especially as Nami, like face checking the dark as a Nami is, you're just gonna end up with sushi. So gone is the Nami. Whitelotus here as well, trying to push up mid, not having that control on the side, and great plays coming through from Red, just managing to capitalize on 2 oversteps from Infinity.
This game, again, back to an even Steven state. The only real advantage you have for Infinity is those dragon stacking. There's a little over 2 minutes until that soul spawns, and the ultimates would be pretty good for the likes of the Cataclysm, of course the Slicing Maelstrom, and even the Sylas as well, regardless of whatever he picks. So a lot of good options there available to him. For Red Canids, they feel like they're the ones that are being a bit more proactive. They feel like they're the ones that are looking to catch them out.
Yeah, and I like what we're seeing here as well, right? You're getting the reset coming through from Grevthar. He's going to link up with those members mid. They get full push. This will give them the opportunity to get vision in towards the top side jungle, making sure they're getting that nice deep vision for the Baron, making sure that when they get another opportunity like they just had, they can go for those plays in towards the Baron area. And just leave GUIGO to do his thing, right? Titanic Hydra picked up. This Camille's totally fine to just sit there on their own and just take over that side lane.
Well, minute 30 until the dragon spawns. We are seeing a few items being picked up. I noticed the Buggax has got his Zonya's Hourglass. Very important to note that one there. And on the other side as well, you've got Aegis with his. So big teamfight extending tools available now to both sides, as both those 2 champions want to be in the face of everyone else.
So Red now trying to see if they can, as you say, get control over River. You've got at least Buggax who's pushing out bot, but
Cody.
will separate him.
Cody's going to get Hextech ultimatum, but they're going to commit the TP straight away. And they're going to turn this one around straight away onto the Camille, but it is Cody who falls first. There we go. Buggax trying to use the Slicing Maelstrom. You have to get the Haymaker off. He will eventually get it. Aegis almost going down. SolidSnake in the backside, and Teton goes forward, finds himself the kill. They will find out SolidSnake. He's not quite able to get the Cataclysm down, and they will get themselves 3 more kills. They don't need the Dragon. They can turn for Baron.
So well played by Red, just keeping themselves at arm's length, finding those engages again. It feels like Infinity, they're just off kilter, too late coming in on the backside of that fight, and now Red can move over towards this Baron. GUIGO already resetting as well to make sure he gets full use out of the big purple worm.
You gotta get himself back out onto the map as quick as he can. It is a slow enough Baron. You have got a misfortune, so not quite going to be the quickest of objectives taken down, but will go down nonetheless, and that will be a massive move now as we have a look now at the replay.
Yeah, you're going to see here just keeping control of River. Cody takes that step too far. And this is the combo that we're talking about, right? We go locking key members up, keeping them in place. They pick off Cody. And yes, SolidSnake is doing work in the back line, but the front side of this fight is just far too strong for Red, pushing people off. And now you can see in the bottom side, they want to make sure that they can pick up this next dragon as well.
Oh, that hook shot stunned the SolidSnake, just making sure he couldn't jump onto Aegis. And you feel like if he gets that Cataclysm, he gets the point, and there is the animations you were talking about.
I love this, man. I love Teton so much. Every time I was watching him on the screen, it was just like going absolutely berserk.
We have a look at the damage graph there, and you can see the Sett. Grevthar doesn't need a lot of resources, but is doing significant damage coming into these fights.
Yeah, I mean, doing massive work, especially when you're able to hit onto multiple people with that haymaker like we saw in that last fight. That's what's making the difference. And obviously you got the Gore Drinker as well to make sure you're staying nice and topped up underneath that shield. So just nice play coming through. And now we got that Red Bull Baron power play about to start up, and you kind of got control of everywhere right now for Red.
All of a sudden, it's a 3,500 gold lead. You've stopped the dragon stacking. That's not going to be for another 4.5 minutes. You are waiting now for Infinity for a couple of key items. But looking on the other side, you got 3 on the Misfortune. Misfortune is just absolutely ridiculous amount of pure damage coming out onto those squishies, like the Nami, like the Lucian. And it's just going to be so much harder to walk up and get those fights.
Yeah, and you can see as well, like the thing that we hit on earlier on, the Youmuu's Ghost Blade doing work, because you get so much opportunity to reposition with the speed up. Just crazy powerful item right now after the changes that we saw in the patch as well. Cheaper, 15 ability, haste, only losing 5 AD for that. That's a trade deal I'll take any day of the week. And now Red are taking everything on this map as well, and Infinity are kind of being left done raw by a lot of these trade deals.
Yeah, they're not really getting the best of it. They're a little bit of a lone shark right now is Red Canids. We can see Whitelotus going forward, seeing if he can maybe get something going from him. GUIGO is here. He's going to jump straight in on top of Cody. There's a showstopper to try and get the bullet time going. He will get the damage, and there's a fantastic solar flare that cannot continue onto it, but it's still Red Canids pushing forward, pushing strong.
And again, Buggax just late to the fight. Infinity Esports already gone by the time this Kennen shows up, so you've now got the waves pushing in. GUIGO goes to situate himself down back around bot side, and now Red can continue the onslaught of the base.
They got the wave in bot side as well, so they can go for either side. As we can see, thank you observers for showing us, there's just 2 being stretched too thin, and now GUIGO trying to see if he can jump onto Buggax. They're going to land the Zenith Blade. They're going to pop out the Slicing Maelstrom in defense just to try and keep himself alive. Cody has got the showstopper, and these health bars are starting to get a little bit low. They'll take the inhibitor to back themselves out.
And Red, they've kind of taken what they wanted, right? They got the inhib, you get a bit of pressure down onto that bottom side, they'll reset with a 4,000 gold buff off of that Red Bull Baron power play, and now as they come back out, you've got 2.5 minutes until the next dragon. They can continue to shove out, make sure they keep control of it, and make it impossible for Infinity to even try and contest that soul. But we'll look at it here again, like Grevthar, just great positioning, spot SolidSnake is like, cool, I can just ram this Jarvan straight in on top of Infinity, and there's so much follow-up damage over the top of this with that wombo combo that we discussed.
It's just too easy right now for the side of Red Candid. They have themselves so many ways of just getting on top of you, and if you're just that little bit far extended, it is punished. It is very punishing. So Infinity, they've got to find themselves a moment of just respite, calm themselves down, recenter themselves, and know that they still have this Lucian who is huge. They just need to try and find an opportunity for him.
Yeah, and I mean, the only way that you can really do that would have been, you know, a couple of towers ago, right? Try and sack one, see if you can make a play off towards a side lane, like catch Grevthar as he moves in, try and catch GUIGO before he can escape, but unfortunately, the timing's kind of gone because the towers you're sacking are inhibitor turrets, are your inhibitors, and with Red already having 1, you really don't want to lose 2, 3 more.
6,500 gold lead as we come 1.5 minutes until this Dragon Soul does take another effect, but Infinity, very unlikely that they'll be able to move outside of their base. They are waiting for some pretty big items to come in, and honestly, I know we hyped out Cody, but 0-4 on the Sylas, it just really hasn't happened for him.
Yeah, I mean, it started off relatively okay, right? Well, back and forth, I'll say, actually, because he lost one level 3, but I think the big thing is you're kind of leaving yourself open to a lot of these counter picks, and that's what Sett does well. Sylas's early stages aren't the best, so yeah, Grevthar gets control. He's able to have a bit more impact at these team fights, and unfortunately, Infinity Esports just haven't found fights that do well for them. Instead, it's been, oh, Cody TPing late, Buggax TPing late, whereas Red are grouped up and ready to go.
We finally got the third item here for Whitelotus. Important to note, in case there is a fight coming up in this near future, Titan has got himself the stopwatch, so is going to be able to keep himself alive that little bit longer if he finds himself overextended. So Infinity running out of options right now. It's going to take a lot for them to be able to, again, find these opportunities, because the GUIGO is huge. 3 items, has the Stairs gauge now. It's just so damn tanky that it's just impossible to burst down. You've got the Zhonya's onto the Lillia. You've got Sett, who in general is just an annoyance kind of to try and deal with. Who do you, unless you get onto Misfortune, who are you going to kill?
Nobody. Yeah.
Thank
it's
you.
just, yeah.
Thank you.
Gotcha,
I just need to confirm.
No worries, I got you. Yeah. But that's the thing, right? It's like, unfortunately, you don't win in either of the solo lanes right now. GUIGO shows up, Cody runs away. Grevthar can go and push a side lane. You're not going to burst him out right now. So Red pushing sides, they push in mid stronger as well, because Titan is now ahead of Whitelotus. So you just fall back. Red will take this, and then they can start to just shove in mid and continue this pressure through the 3 lanes and just wait for Infinity Esports to crash. Wait for this Baron that's now in 25 seconds, and look at all that vision control. There is not a single ward anywhere up here that is a blue ward.
Yeah, it's a little bit desperate right now for Infinity. They are boxed into their base. There is nowhere safe for them outside of the walls. And even then, there could be a sneaky teleport, ward. They don't know just yet. They have to keep sweeping it. They have to keep checking it to make sure that they do not get caught out. So they're going to try and venture out as a group, as a conglomerate, because there's safety in numbers.
I don't know if there is, though. That's the problem. Like, there's safety in numbers
Dagda.
as long as you're ahead. But this stage, I'm like, well, maybe it's a little bit risky. Maybe you kind of set yourself up for that big wombo from Red. But Red looking for that quick reset. We're going to see, though, a third item's kind of completed across the board here. You got Aegis, even who has kind of gone more of a bruiser route here now that he has the Zhonya's Hourglass completed, the Demonic Embrace. Pretty standard, but it just means that it's harder to take down this Lillia. And again, we're just going to see them float over towards this Rift Herald, and with the double percentage health damage coming through from Lillia, GUIGO being as big as he is, they will tear through this bar.
Yeah, the Demonic Embrace is just so massive as they have no vision, and they can't move forward on it. Now they've used a trinket, so Jojo will be seen to about half HP, and they'll back themselves away. GUIGO going in now to SolidSnake, who immediately flashes away. Do they commit? They do not. They got the flash. They know that SolidSnake has to commit, and once he's in, he's in.
And that's the thing. Now, again, they're just slowly but surely whittling off of these summoner spells. They can just go back and commit. There's no real pressure on the map for them right now. It looks like they might even try to aggress a little bit further forward, playing towards the dark, and see if they can catch out Infinity. But, I mean, at least the blue ward for the moment, making Infinity Esports think they're safe.
That's the last blue trinket available, and now Baron going down to about half its HP. You can see now Red Canids, so they don't want it. They don't want to try and get the Baron. They want to go for the fight straight away. SolidSnake in a little bit of trouble. He's the one who has to face check as we go in. We're going to see the Hextech ultimate coming out. There's the bullet time. They're not quite getting it on top of people that they want, but there is the death of the jungler now as they try and go in for the showstopper. Cody not quite able to get the abscond abduct. These health bars are too low. It's a double kill for Grevthar. It's a double kill for Titan, and that's going to be the game.
I mean, secure, contain, protect. The package was delivered successfully as they just keep Titan safe. Buggax never gets the opportunity to try and use this big ultimate, and now Red will look to close out the second game of the World Championship.
They will look to try and push this one in. They got all the ways they could possibly want. They're even going to TP in. It's Ackerman versus the world. This is reminding me of a bit of Attack on Titan. Ackerman versus the Titans, but the Titans come out on top in this particular instance. It will be advantage in the Copa America to the Brazilian side.
And so well played by Red Cannons. We talk, hey, you know, early stages, they like to try and play through this top side. We go ahead, play through those strong lanes, but the big thing